Hello again. I wasn't going to do a video today, but something came up and it answers another part of the questions as to why I ended up in heaven 3 times. I was just sitting here eating. Again, I choked. Again. It happens 3, 4 times a week. It's to the point where I basically eat where my husband or my son is. I've not gone to many functions because they involved eating. And to watch me do my thing is enough to see in my son's and husband's eyes to put that fear in another person when I'm eating, to see I couldn't do anymore, so I just pulled out everything. The reason that I do choke, and I can hear me now because I'm still choking from like 15 minutes ago when it started, comes back to child abuse. I was going to keep it in order. Age-wise, the first memories, but because of just what happened, scooting all the way up to the attack of my brother that nearly killed me. He started, he's just like a maniac. I always stay away from him. I don't talk to him, never ever. This was around, I was 17 years old. I remember where I was working, that's how I gauged with the age. I come into the house. It's a Cape Cod, which means the living room was in the front and the kitchen was in the back. I know where Gilda was already, so the only one around I heard was my brother, and I said hello to him. Next thing I know, I'm like halfway through the kitchen, and he says, "Shut up," but I can't see him yet. And for me, it's like, don't tell me to shut up. So basically, I was like, no, you shut up. And it went back and forth. And he was getting more enraged. I wouldn't back off. And I hear the click of a phone. He slammed it down. And it turned out that he was on the phone with a prospective job offer that he obviously lost because he couldn't maintain his own control on the phone. The guy heard him. But he went into the worst rage I have ever seen him go into. And to say that he was not on this planet, though his body was here, is definitely what it was. He came running over to me when he saw me, and he took with his 2 hands, he put them right around my throat. He picked me up right back into the living room. My feet, I swear, they weren't even touching the ground. He would drop me, threw me down. He started kicking me in the ribs, which x-rays from years later show that I do have one broken rib, and that was what it was from. Every time I fell on the floor, he grabbed me by the throat again, start choking me out, and throw me back down, ranting and raving. And the second time he threw me down, he had picked up a living room rocker similar to a lazy boy. I used to sit in it all the time. He picked it up like it didn't weigh a pound, and he threw it at me, and he actually hit me with the living room furniture while he was still ranting and raving. So he's going still, right from my throat, up again I went. But this time he was holding on to me. He wasn't letting go. And I was passing out. The feeling of helplessness and to being totally kicked across the room by like a lunatic, like you're a rag doll, it was the most terrifying thing I think I was ever through. And I guess I got heavier and he couldn't hold me anymore, he dropped me. And thankfully, I landed on the edge of the slate fireplace, and the pain when I hit it, which actually did leave, I saw the scar, woke me up. And by that time, he was like raising his hands, talking to I don't even know who, but he's screaming at the top of his lungs, and like a total crazy person. And I saw the opportunity to get up and run, and that's what I did. So I ran up the stairs as he was still screaming. I have no idea how I got behind it, but I locked it. And I called my friend Laura. She was the sweetest person. She was truly the person who saved me. That's my adopted family. Without them, I don't know what I could have done. Laura's husband is a cop, so I wanted to get yeah, I wanted to get John over. I mean, I knew John would actually, really kick the crap out of him. And that's at that point the only time I really wanted anybody to beat up my brother. Even what only did, but that was it. So Laura says, what's going on there? I just said is John there, and I was crying, and she knew it. As soon as I said that, I hear him coming up the stairs again at me. And I just started screaming my lungs out like nobody's business. And before I knew it, I mean, of course, Angie's still banging on the door, and I'm trying to, hold it shut. I hear the front door like slam open, and I hear Laura's voice. And she started screaming at my brother. And she was able, I guess maybe because he just didn't know how far she would go. She brought a gun. She brought a gun with her. She pointed it at my brother once I was able to get down the stairs by the door. She got in front of me, and I saw that she was holding the gun on Andrew. So she got me out of the house, and then I went to her house and spent a couple of hours there trying to calm down. I had to go to work that day, and when I got there, I mean, there were obvious signs. People were asking me, what happened to your neck? You're all red, that kind of stuff. But at that point, I couldn't even, think straight. So I did my job, whatever. Cashier is what I was. And after my shift, I came back home. I knew my father was there, and that the lunatic would at least, be calmer. So when I go in there and tell him, my father, or even Gilder, I think, was there, what had happened, my father's advice was, stay away from Andrew. He's crazy. I was like, wonderful. But since that time, I started having difficulty swallowing food. And which makes it going on like 40 years already. After the second trip to heaven, I let them examine my throat, and they found that there was a narrowing at the spot where my brother had his hands around me, squeezing, actually trying to, crush my throat. And the damage has been what's caused my swallowing problems. And all of that is from useless child abuse. Even when they found out, they basically didn't do anything for Andrew or for me, my sister, to keep us safe. Keep the secret. Only I never promised to keep their secrets. So that is the story of how my trips to heaven came into play.